Preface. mynovabooks presents The Mayor's Missing Mistress by Lou Shepard. Step into a rain-slick city of shadows and secrets. No spoilers, just tension, intrigue, and a mystery that won't let go. To explore more, please visit mynovabooks.com. The following voice will narrate your audiobook experience.
Hi, I'm Mick Donovan. I will be the narrator for this story.
The following voices will serve as characters for your audiobook experience.
Hi, my name is Benedict. I will be the voice of Mayor Silas Whitlock.
All other characters in the story will be voiced by me.
Now sit back and enjoy. Now reading The Mayor's Missing Mistress.
It was the kind of rain that makes a city look like it's trying to wash itself clean, and failing. The gutters spit back gray water and secrets. Streetcars hissed along their rails like they knew something and wouldn't tell. Neon buzzed and smeared its lipstick in the puddles. I watched it all through a crooked blind slat, counting the beats between thunder and a siren 5 blocks over. Like a heartbeat too tired to keep good time. They call this place the City of Light when they're selling it to rubes from out of town. Me? I call it a slop bucket with marble handles. The money men keep polishing those handles while everything underneath turns. You don't get ahead here unless you know how to push dirt under your nails and smile like you don't smell it. Everyone's got dirt under their nails, including the client. He came in without knocking, rain on his shoulders and a hat brim wide enough to make its own weather. The kind of suit that wore a man more than he wore it. He sat before I told him to, and set a leather case on my desk like it was a sleeping dog that might bite.
Mr. Delaney,
He said, voice round as a lectern.
you know who I am.
I did. The newspapers did. The parish widows did. Mayor Silas Whitlock, face like a Roman coin, and just about as honest. I said nothing. He kept going.
This is confidential.
He said,
I'm told you can be discreet.
depends on the weather. I said. He gave me a church smile.
A young lady who helps me with my tension hasn't kept her appointments. I'm concerned for her well-being. She's a massage therapist.
He let the words be sanctified by the carpet between us. I let them die on the way. Name?
Miss Vera Malloy. Dark hair. Laugh you can hear in the next room. She hasn't visited my office in a week. I have a city to run. I can't have private matters interfering with public duties.
Oh, absolutely. I said, public duties hate competition. He didn't blink. He slid the leather case open. Money looked up at me.
Find her,
He said,
quietly, before the press invents its own ending.
one should have told him to take his case, his cash, and his conscience and let the river decide what it would keep. But the rain kept tapping the window like a bill collector, and my landlord didn't take rain in lieu of rent. And there was something else, something I never could name. Maybe it was that you get tired in a town like this, and when the city pushes, you push back at whatever's in front of you. Maybe I wanted a reason to keep moving. All right, I said. I'll look. He exhaled like a man who'd bet heavily and won. He stood, adjusted his cuffs, and left as if sunlight were waiting for him outside. It wasn't. Vera Malloy wasn't in any of the massage parlors that knew me by my first name, or the speakeasies that only pretended to hide. But someone who did know me by my first name knew her. Her name was Iris, and we had the kind of history you keep in a locked drawer because if you look at it too long, it gets to looking back. I'd pulled her out of a club raid years ago, slipped her down a fire escape while the coppers were busy putting on their brave faces for the flashbulbs. Since then, Iris fed me what the city fed her, a side dish of whispers with the main course of gin. She was part barn swallow, part rosary, and all nerve. "You've got lousy luck, Jack," she said over the piano clink at the Blue Lantern. "You taking charity cases now? The mayor's girl is bad news, stacked on bad timing." "Tell me something I don't know," I said. "She met somebody a few nights back." Iris pushed a napkin across the table. Address in block letters. Said she was wrapping up a job, and then headed to meet this friend of a friend, a foreman type. Only the address ain't no foreman's office. It's a warehouse down by the old freight tracks. Been empty since the union troubles. "You sure?" She gave me the look she saved for amateurs. "You saved me. I don't trade you pennies." Outside, the rain had whittled itself down to a steady chew. The warehouse district was a mouth with too many missing teeth. One parked 2 blocks over and came in through an alley that smelled like wet rope and regret. The place was all broken windows and one bad idea per square foot. My shoes scuffed old sawdust. There was a calendar on a nail from 3 years ago, and a broken crate stenciled with a shipping company that had gone bust. I found them on the 3rd floor, in a room where light filtered through a slashed tarpaulin roof and made a watery mural on the far wall. He was lying on his side, eyes open as if he were watching his life leave through a crack in the ceiling. I knew his face from a whistleblower story that hadn't had the guts to say his name. City Inspector Amos Alder. The only honest man in municipal services, if you believed the rumors. And I did, because the city hated him for it. She was half a yard away, head tilted like she'd fallen asleep listening to him talk. Vera Malloy. No laugh now. Both had neat holes drilled above the ear. Execution tidy as a bookkeeper. There was something else. Something that glinted in a way that didn't fit. A heavy ring beside the bodies, gold with a crest on it. A shield and eagle piece I'd seen up close on a handshake that morning. The mayor's ring. My hands went cold and hot in turns. Why hire me if he did it? Why call in a man with a license and a habit of asking the wrong questions? I took out my camera. Black box, bellows, flashbulb that popped like a firefly going to heaven. And put the ring in the frame with their faces. The bulb flared, and I saw the scene twice. Once in light, once in the afterimage on my eyelids. That's when I heard it. The thin wail of sirens, closer than a rumor, and heading this way. Not random. Not in this neighborhood at this hour. My gut, that old broken compass, swung hard to north. I didn't know why I did what I did next. Maybe a habit of stepping sideways when a man points straight. I picked up the ring. It was warm from the thought of another hand. In my pocket, I found an old nickel-plated curtain grommet I'd been toying with for a week like worry beads. I set it exactly where the ring had been. In that dim, crooked light, the nickel could pass for gold to anyone looking fast, especially through a camera. Up close, it wouldn't fool a soul. I slid behind a stack of crates that once held canned peaches and now held old air. I pulled out the little tape recorder I'd been carrying since they started making them small enough for cowards and cops. The tape wheels began to turn, whispering to each other. Boots climbed the stairwell. Too many to be coincidence. They came in like they owned the place. Lieutenant Rourke led them. A cop with a tempers calendar, always on the wrong day. With him, a reporter I knew too well for comfort or confession. Sid Harrow of the Herald. A man who sold words wholesale to the highest bidder and bought his conscience in bulk. Behind them were two uniform bulls I'd seen around City Hall and a third man without a uniform who wore danger like a cologne. Councilman Leo Danziger's boy, from the look of the cufflinks. Rourke didn't search. He didn't hesitate. He walked straight to the bodies like a homing pigeon that had been paid off. "There," he said, loud enough for the recorder. "Ain't it a sight? Get in close, Harrow. Make sure you get the mayor's ring." Harrow raised his camera, stepped in, squinted. He frowned. Rourke bent, reaching down. His fingers closed on chrome and came up with a donut of light. "Not gold. This ain't right," Rourke said low and mean. He straightened, his face a parade of all the bad things he'd ever thought. He turned on the uniforms like they'd cheated at a game he'd rigged. "You dumb grifters! Are you sure you planted the mayor's ring here?" I said here. It was a simple job. Harrow was going to take a picture of the mayor's ring nestled up to a couple of stiffs. A front page you can taste. "What do I pay you for?" Harrow's jaw bobbed in the wind. The uniforms looked at their shoes. The councilman's boy swore under his breath and said something about calling Danziger. Rourke kicked at the floorboards like the ring might pop back out if he threatened them enough. I felt it then. Not relief, not triumph. Just a tired kind of click as pieces that had been rolling around finally dropped into place. The mayor and Danziger had had a falling out over a sweetheart development deal down in the bottoms, the kind where you turn tenements into linen offices and the poor into ghosts. Inspector Alder had been the grit in the gears, honest enough to say no. And Vera, who massaged the city's tension, had gotten herself a different kind of appointment with truth. The councilman wanted Mayor Whitlock's head on a pike and had planned to serve it cold with a ring garnish. The cops were his knives, the reporter his dinner guest. The tape kept turning. They left in a knot of curses and future excuses. When the air remembered me again, I put the recorder away and the ring in a place no one would find without taking off my skin. I took the back stairs and let the rain swallow me on the street. Back at my apartment, the radiator made noises like a man laughing into his sleeve. I hung my coat, poured a drink that tasted like the inside of an old hat, and looked at the wall until it looked back. The mayor was corrupt. That wasn't news. That was weather. But murder is murder, and it had 2 holes in its head and names. Danziger wanted to pin it on Whitlock to clear the lane for his development racket. Whitlock wanted to keep his chair warm and his secrets warmer. Somewhere in the middle lay the city's only honest inspector and a woman who probably thought one more job might buy her a sunrise. I thought of another face, smaller, softer. Gone so long, the edges in my mind were starting to blur. When the city takes from you, it doesn't give back. Or if it does, it asks interest you can't pay. People say time heals. In this town, time just learns your address. I made my choice when the rain slackened to a spit. City Hall wears pillars so you'll forget it has teeth. I was waved in with the urgency reserved for men with bad news or good leverage. Mayor Whitlock sat behind a desk hued like a forest you could get lost in. He dismissed 2 aides with a little hand flick and gave me a look that could have come with a martini.
"Well?"
He said. "Well," I echoed. I told him about the warehouse. I told him about Inspector Alder, about Vera, about the ring I'd found, the ring someone else had meant to find, and the sirens that came too quick, and the detective who didn't have to look for anything, because he thought he'd left it there. Whitlock listened the way bankers do, counting without moving his lips. When I finished, he regarded me for a long time like I was a painting of a dog playing cards. Then he smiled without showing teeth.
You recorded this?
He said, not a question. I didn't answer. He stood, came around the desk, and held out his hand.
Mr. Delaney, the recording.
I shook my head. I also have a photograph. Good composition. Your ring, her face, his. I haven't decided which one to give to my journalist friend. He froze. A shadow crossed his face. A cloud blotting a statue.
Careful.
He said, soft as a handkerchief.
You have something dangerous. You don't yet know who it's dangerous to.
Maybe I do, I said. Maybe I'm tired of not knowing. Anger came first, quick and clean.
Is it money then?
He asked.
Because we can talk terms.
No.
Position? The city has places for men who understand the game.
No. He took a breath like a diver and let it out like he'd found rocks at the bottom. His eyes changed, colder but clearer, like an iceberg deciding which ship to meet.
Oh.
He said,
Oh, him.
The room felt smaller. What did you say? I asked.
You're not after my chair or Danziger's scalp.
He said,
You want to know what happened to your son?
The radiator in my chest made its old, tired laugh, and then it didn't. Whitlock watched me like a man testing a bridge with his toe. He folded his hands.
Mr. Delaney.
He said, and the rain came back against the windows even though I couldn't see it.
Now things are getting interesting.
End of The Mayor's Missing Mistress. Outro. Thank you for listening to The Mayor's Missing Mistress, written by Lou Shepard and narrated by Mick Donovan. We appreciate you joining us for this story and hope you enjoyed the journey. For more great selections, be sure to visit mynovabooks.com. We look forward to having you with us again for another unforgettable story.